Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast. Just kind of touch base on what we were talking about earlier today. If you want to check out earlier segments, segment one and two. Our first segment was about our SmackDown review, which was was pretty heated, honestly, between The Rock and Cody Rhodes, and also our Raw preview, which we're going to get a lot of SmackDown action. Well, not SmackDown. Oh man, not like SmackDown the show, but it's like SmackDown action between the tag team division, finding out who's going to make the six pack challenge ladder match to face Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and try to dethrone those guys. Or Judgment Day. I know it's so weird when I say Judgment Day and New Day. Like I know it's totally different, like styles of wrestling, but Judgment Day, like New Day, like I don't know. But that's just me as a wrestling fan. I'm a dork. I'm sorry. So all right. Moving on to our next, we have honestly probably one of the best women's wrestler of our times. Becky Lynch is I don't know, as soon as WWE kind of went a little more global, Becky Lynch just she stood out. Like she's talented. She's gifted. Not a lot of wrestlers kind of have that it factor that Becky Lynch kind of brings to the table. And you can kind of see that through wrestlers, either women's wrestling. You can see that on either, Ring of Honor, TNA, AEW, NXT. And like, I'm not trying to dog on women wrestlers, or I'm not trying to say that like, Becky is better than everybody else and everybody else sucks. Because everybody kind of, everybody has their own, God given abilities. Everyone has their talents. Everyone's good at something. Everyone is, you got to play to your strengths, and I think Becky did, pretty well, within that. Um, I kind of did a little bit of research on Becky, and this next fact kind of made me, I kind of respect her a little more here. She used to work at an Irish pub, where there was probably bar fights like crazy, like guys like Sheamus and like Hornswoggle. I'm just kidding, no, but Um, but I don't know, just I don't know if you've ever kind of lived the life of like a bartender. Like I never have, but I've been to a couple of bars, and I know that it's not the best and like comfortable place to work because it's very hostile. Obviously, you have guys, women, getting super, super just like inebriated. And you got to be ready to defend yourself at all times. Like I think that kind of made Becky more of like I don't know, it kind of made her strong. Like, I don't care if you're like 300, 400 pounds. I've tossed guys like you out of my bar before. So it's not like, someone has like, Nia Jax or Rhea Ripley coming at me. I'm not like, that really terrified. Um, and to be like, she's still only 37 years old. She's only 37 years old. She still has a lot of wrestling in front of her. I know she does. She's a fighter. She's She's a mom, guys. She's a mom. She's the wife to obviously the visionary Seth Rollins, who's also 37 years old. I thought that was kind of crazy how both of them are the same age. But she's moms kick ass, guys. Like a lot of people go off to their 9 to 5 jobs, and especially back in the day, especially back in the American society where it was normal for women to stay home, kind of like the homemakers and stuff like that, and for men to go off to work, but um, honestly, like kids are kids. As a father, like kids, it takes work. We love them to death. Love them to death. They're a godsend. God bless them. But it's sometimes it seems a little easier to go off to work. But it's not. Um, but I don't know. Mothers are strong, guys. That's kind of what I want to to get out of this. She has a 3-year-old daughter with Seth freaking Rollins. I don't know if she wears the the cool little stuff that Seth has. I wonder if during that time or during like just whenever there's like a music thing going on or like washing your hands, because I know like during like that time as a father, I'm like we kind of have songs that we create as parents to kind of just like help the children like for me, I don't want to seem a little too dorky here, too dad, but like sometimes like when the kids are brushing their teeth, like this is the way you brush your teeth, brush your teeth, brush your teeth. This is the way you brush your teeth. We do it all the time. And I don't know, I wonder if like Seth Rollins like is oh Well, I don't know. I just think that would be pretty cool. Like, obviously, you have WWE superstars in your household. It's gonna get pretty crazy. It's gonna get pretty crazy. You're gonna have, I don't know. I think WWE superstars are probably just as dorky as us WWE fans, or maybe that's just me being wishful thinking. Maybe it could be. I don't know. Anyways, so I gotta say, you know, and she's been wrestling since she was 15 years old. Okay, so let's just kind of take a look at that. I want you to think about what you were doing at 15 years old. What was I doing? Hmm. I was 15 years old. I was watching wrestling. I was watching wrestling. I was watching WWE Raw. I remember I was such a huge Trish Stratus fan. I used to have posters all over my walls and stuff like that. And not to get a little personal, but I used to like, work out in front of them to kind of like impress her. Or like, I know it's just a paper on the wall. But no, I'm just kidding. But no, like when I was 15 years old, basically like I was just kind of living life. Not a lot of people know what they're doing at 15. You kind of just ride the wave, bro. Like I don't just playing sports, hanging out with my friends. Becky Lynch started wrestling when she was 15 years old. She knew what she wanted to do. She was determined. She was just like absolutely tenacious toward this dream of becoming a superstar in the pro wrestling business. I'm not sure if it was WWE from the start. Of course, there's other like pro wrestling entities. I can imagine 2000. Well, wow, man, she's 37. She's 6 years older than I am. So I can imagine during her time when she was 15, she was kind of looking or watching. Obviously, I think the NWA was there for sure, the North Wrestling Alliance, and obviously WWF, now WWE. I don't know if we're allowed to say WWF, but um, I think WCW was back in 1996. I could be wrong. Um, New Japan Wrestling, I don't know how far that goes back, but I don't know. A lot of wrestling, and you can watch like a lot of these superstars. Like, I bet you when she was growing up, she was probably watching wrestlers like Andre the Giant, Ric Flair, Bob Backlund. She was probably watching a little bit of like Shawn Michaels during his kind of middle years. Triple H, the Undertaker, kind of growing up from me and Mark to obviously the Ministry of Darkness, which obviously did wonders for him. I remember when Kane wasn't the fire guy, like he was a dentist, and he was trying to be like that evil dentist that'll beat you up or that'll, like, kind of like a horror movie. I think there was actually a horror movie that was based off of a dentist, but not. Anyways, moving. We're here to talk about Becky Lynch. So Becky Lynch, so she was the first ever woman to main event WrestleMania, which I thought was obviously it's a huge goal. Growing up during the time of wrestling, you never really had like a women's match kind of main event. You always had the WWE champion. You always had the world's heavyweight champion. Like for me, growing up and watching WrestleMania main events, it was Triple H, Shawn Michaels, John Cena, Batista, The Undertaker. The Undertaker didn't really main event WrestleManias because he had his own like little streak. That within itself was kind of like an entity of his own. Where like, oh, who's gonna break the Undertaker streak? So that was Edge was there as well. I remember Sheamus coming up. I remember Sheamus's first match. That's crazy. I remember Daniel Bryan. Um, I don't know, just all these guys like just coming and going through the WrestleMania main event ranks. And then one year, women's wrestling propelled themselves during the women's evolution to be more popular than the guys, basically. And that's just something. That's huge, especially in the world of wrestling, especially as a wrestling fan. Like, I felt lucky to see Becky Lynch main event WrestleMania. I can tell my kids, who I hope become wrestling fans, um, I watched a woman main event WrestleMania. I've seen how strong women can be. Women are just as strong as men, just as talented, just as aggressive and tenacious and willing and ready and determined to fight for what they want in this world. Like, and like I said, not to get too personal, but I was brought up from a single mother. I was, I had a chance to see how strong women could be, and to be honest, I thank God every day that I had a chance to be in that position where I can see how strong a woman could be. Like a woman raised me, and I turned out just fine. And that's not a joke. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. I'm just kidding. No, but what I'm trying to basically say is that women kick ass, guys. Women kick ass, and Becky Lynch is definitely kicking some ass, which is love Becky, love Becky. All right, we're gonna end kind of end this segment and like just kind of go over kind of a few accolades that Becky Lynch has. So she was an NXT champ. It took her to from being the four horsemen. You had Sasha Banks, her, Charlotte, and I think Bailey. Was it Bailey? I think it was Bailey. And essentially, she had to go back. And I think that we talked about this in a couple of podcasts ago that when she went back to NXT and she won the championship, and she was just able to propel young talent from there, like from the championship stand, kind of like on a. It's kind of comparing apples to oranges there, but the Becky Lynch was able to, I don't know, just kind of help these young women superstars kind of get into this place where they can fight for championships like the NXT Women's Championship, or like let's look at Ring of Honor. Like you can have women fighting for that, for the TBS Championship. Like I see Becky Lynch as kind of like a trailblazer in the world wrestling industry because she could help these superstars become better and better and better. And I think that's what she wants. I think she just wants to see women's wrestling kind of get a lot more attention than it has been within like the past couple of decades, which it has definitely. The world of the professional wrestling industry has, obviously changed a lot. Like I don't even want to mention back in in the Attitude Era what women did to compete, but well, the way they're doing it now is right, and I think WWE, needs to just keep going, keep promoting these women, keep like you have Bianca, and now we have Jade Cargill, which I have high hopes for. And there's many, 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 many more. She was also a women's tag team champion. She was a 4-time SmackDown Women's Champion, and she was 2-time Raw Women's Champion, and she was also a 2019 Royal Rumble winner. And I think that's when they started incorporating the women's Royal Rumble. But I don't know. I remember it being entertaining to sell because I think she was in a match earlier, and I think she just got super injured, and then she came out, and then she started kicking some and that's how she found herself at WrestleMania. To be the first woman to ever. Well, first one of the women's, the first main event WrestleMania. So good for Becky. I hope nothing but the best for her. She's amazing. All right. Okay, so our next segment, don't go anywhere. We are going to talk about Jimmy and Jay Uso, obviously part of the bloodline, part of that family between The Rock, Nia Jax, Tamina, just all those Rikishi, Umaga, and this bloodline goes on for just ever, guys. This is like a wrestling family. This is like just something that's inherited, and these God-given abilities seem like they are being handed, down to these, third and fourth generation superstars like Jimmy and Jay Uso. But I recently read an article saying that Rikishi has I don't know, he's kind of not picked sides. Well, yeah, yeah. Well, the article basically said that Rikishi has, officially kind of picked a side to what he wants to see at WrestleMania between his two sons. So, hey, don't go anywhere. We have Jimmy and Jay Uso news next.